Hello, and welcome back to Aphantasia Meow. It's been a while. Today we're going to be taking a look at one of my recent students that I worked with. I'd just like to share with you guys his progress, so stay tuned.
Meow.
So one of the things, guys, over the past almost 4 years that I've been doing this, that I've been really aware of lately, is that I've been kind of shit, honestly, at recording and displaying progress of the people that I've worked with. It just hasn't been a part of my program hugely. I've been keeping it personally. You know, I've kept notes on every single person I've worked with one-on-one and all of that. But in terms of actually demonstrating progress from somebody that's not me, right? So it's not just me standing up on a soapbox saying, hey, people can make progress. You know, if you've followed the channel, you know that hasn't really been a part of it. And there's an inherent issue there because it leaves those of you who have been watching in kind of a tough position. Either you believe me like outright and just take everything that I say, you know, as fact, or you don't believe me at all, you know, and wonder if I'm even telling the truth. And that's something I want to address. And really, I would never encourage people to just believe others outright, especially if they're making claims that are kind of, you know, outside the norm right now, like I have been. But at the same time, I'm not the only one that's been claiming these things, of course. If you search some of my Discord or YouTube comments or different places like that, you'd be able to find and track down a few people that have said that they made progress too. So it's not just me, to be fair, but I do recognize it's a problem within my program that I'm starting to address now. So, all that being said, today I want to introduce you to a recent student of mine. His name's Francis. Now, Francis in many ways has been like a star pupil of mine. You know, we're already wrapped up, him and I, but he was really a pleasure to work with. He took well to the coaching, he made significant progress in his mind's eye ability, and he rose to the occasion every step of the way. Now, it's also important to note that he's a little bit of an outlier in that sense because most people don't make the amount of progress that he had or the breadth of progress that he did. So that's just good to keep in mind that he's kind of on the edges of what people can, you know, break into for themselves. But he also helps really demonstrate really well that progress is possible, especially if you're starting with a similar situation as he was. So Francis started out experiencing hypophantasia, meaning he had a very weak mind's eye activity. In fact, he would only have mind's eye activity if he was like dreaming or in deep meditative states, but during waking life, he couldn't conjure up mental images at will. That all started to change as we got going. Here's him.
So yeah, I was definitely on the Hypophantasia. There was something there, but inaccessible. I needed this 30 years ago, 40 years ago. That's why I started training, is because I came across your work sort of almost out of desperation. You know, artist books on visual imagination, how to develop that. And I thought, can't do it, too bad, so sad, just live with it. So I was operating at 1% of what I could do.
So very early on in the sessions, we started to notice that Francis's brain seemed to be processing things a little bit different. His environment, taking note of details, you know, around him. So we started to see changes pretty quick. And as we continued forward, Francis started to experience like spontaneous mental imagery that was beyond what he was used to. So these would happen actually in moments, quite a few moments, where we weren't even really practicing. We were just discussing, you know, mind's eye concepts and things like that. And he would have these just moments of whoa. So it's really as if his mind was primed to make some of these perception changes. And the next moment I want to share with you is one of these spontaneous moments of like imagery popping through, where his brain seemed to click up into a different type of processing and he was able to think of things visually.
It's a lot easier to attend to an image and hold it. Like I'm looking across at across the street at a neighbour's house, and they've got a front porch with a wooden fretwork, which is quite convoluted. And I can close my eyes, I can look at that, and I can identify the negative space, the shapes a lot more clearly now, without struggling, without it going. Yeah, so it's, I know that's useful. It's like I'm like, wow, this is cool. No, I can do this. Have my eyes open, but I'm looking at the scene in my room in front of me, but I'm clearly seeing what we're talking about as you're saying it. And I'm actually panning around the environment like a 3D, like a camera, like a first person thing. It's bizarre. Great. I'm in this weird state. I don't know what's happened to my brain, but I'm actually it really helps me to, instead of when I don't know how to explain it. Like I can actually see that my eyes open, but I can see the scene you're talking about and the entire place. Fascinating.
That's great. That's what we call the mind's eye.
It's like 10 times more clearly than it's ever been to be able to do those things.
I'm starting to get the knack of the balance of allowing an image to happen, but also focusing. There's a sort of sweet spot. If I try too much focus and the mind just switches off and says, we're not doing this, too much chaos and you don't get much at all. It's a bit hazy. But there's like a sweet spot of allowing your mind and your brain indeed to work. Even color is becoming more poignant, more how can I say, more prominent. Yeah, so it's been really good. And the images, the precision of the images is improved like 100%. And I've started recalling images and scenes from my past, even in childhood, and they haven't been perfectly precise, but I can identify where people are in the images, what they were doing, and it even has a bigger sense of movement and reality to it, if that makes any sense.
So that last point that Francis was talking about is quite important because it could suggest that developing mental imagery actually helps with memory, and this is one of the areas that we know aphantasia affects. Of course, we'll need a lot more data to demonstrate any hard evidence, right, that developing mental imagery does affect memory, but it's a cool start. And actually, I've seen that before too with other people that I've worked with. This was also an extra bonus for Francis because actually improving his memory was one of his goals coming into the program in the first place, so that was really great. And as we wrapped up, this is what Francis had to say about the program and his experience in it.
So, Alex, to my right, there's a window. I'm looking out the window. I can see a sort of an oak tree thing. I can see that image. I can look at it, or even just glance at it, look back at you. My eyes are on you, and I can see that at its angle in my mind's eye, while my eyes, and I couldn't do that before. It's certainly changed my life. Like I would say that. So it's made life more vivid. I'm walking down the street. I'm looking at a tree, and the tree that's cool. That's a tree. It's got color. It's got shape. It's alive. I've seen that thing 1,000 times before. I've actually got a sense of novelty with it. Before I'd be sort of just like in this 2D haze, pretty much just thinking about, where am I going? Damn, why is this taking so long? Now it's like, I'm attending to things much better. Continual progress, confidence, practice regularity, things to focus on, all of that stuff. Now it's been perfect. So thank you so much.
Yeah, absolutely. My pleasure. I told you at the end of our sessions, you were an absolute joy to work with, and I was really proud to see how you rose to the occasion every step of the way for yourself too. So excellent job.
Thank you, Master Jedi. Thank you. Yeah. I appreciate it. That's really changed my life.
So I hope you got something in hearing from Francis through his experience of... Must be camera shy. Hope you enjoyed hearing from Francis and his experience in the program. Like I said, not everybody experiences the breadth of breakthrough or the extent of breakthrough that he did, but it's a great example of what can happen when you practice the proper things. So going forward, you can expect to hear more accounts like Francis's and like others who are working on their visualization and making progress. And that'll help demonstrate, that it's not just me saying this, that progress is possible, but that real people are actually making progress too. And actually, I'm pulling the trigger on putting together the case study videos that I said I was going to release way back in 2020. I just got wrapped up, COVID hit that year and things were tumbling, and I just got wrapped up with other stuff. So those videos are going to be coming out too, talking about, with each of those participants from back then, who each made progress, by the way, 4 out of 4, so not bad. So you can expect that. And here's what I want to leave you with today. If they can do it, so can you. All right? Peace out. See you next time.